Hey there, American Farmsteaders. This is Jenny with the Grimstead Family Farm.
And Donna with Hazelbell Farm.
And we are coming to y'all from Northeast Florida as two American farmsteaders doing our best to grow our own food and share our homesteading experiences with you in hopes that you would grow a little food of your own.
Yep, this week we are talking about food storage. Not just food storage, but food storage without electricity, because we know how to store food in freezers.
Yep.
But what if the power goes out?
Yeah. Or just what if you have an abundance and you don't want to use electricity to store it?
Yeah, if you've done the homestead thing for any length of time, you realize how fast you fill up a freezer and need another freezer.
Yeah.
Right? And, you'll see people who have like the beef freezer, the pork freezer, the chicken freezer, the veggie freezer. Well, at some point,
yeah, I'm not that organized.
you got to call it off, So, yeah, we're talking about food storage without electricity. And let's start with
the most obvious first.
Right.
The easiest or the most obvious. So pickling.
Pickling. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pickling, if you're doing, if you're going to, I kind of put fermenting with this in my eyes because that's how I'm pickling a lot of times now.
Yeah.
Because you don't need any, you need less stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so start with, you need jars.
Yes.
Right? And if you're pickling, like our modern day pickling, like we know, maybe that's why I put them together, is vinegar and salt. That's really all you need.
Right.
Vinegar, salt, water.
Yeah. And I guess the difference between pickling and fermentation is pickling, a lot of the times you're doing a boil with the vinegar and the salt and then pouring that solution over your cut veggies and capping them.
Right.
And letting them set.
Yeah.
Now, how long would you say something like that is good outside of the fridge?
So if you can it, right? Are we canning them?
Even without canning them. Let's talk about not canning them.
Okay, if you're not canning them, I don't know. I mean, your vinegar and your salt are both good preservatives. I think with pickling, you're looking at texture being an issue after too much time. So when I make my pickles now, I'm doing a low heat pasteurization canning process.
Right.
So that they stay crispier longer. And I think the recommendation is 1 year, but I think they can go longer.
Okay.
In my house, they're eaten up in no
They
time.
don't last that long.
No, they don't last that long at all. So what would you...
But you're saying 1 year with canning.
I think even the low heat, which, I mean, I guess it is canning.
Right.
What would you... Or do you not can pickles like canning? Like water bath?
I don't like to because it makes them mushy.
So refrigerator pickles?
Yeah.
Okay. You should try my way.
I know.
They're so crispy.
I just learned about that way last year.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up making mini pickles last year. I opted to make relish with all my cucumbers. And I made huge quarts of relish. I'm down to 2, and my people love it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yum.
Yeah. That was canned, though, too. So.
Right. Is it crispy?
Yeah, it's good.
Good.
It's really good.
Yeah, I'm not sure about like not canning. So you could do refrigerator pickles, but then you're using electricity.
Right.
And that defeats the point of our topic.
Right.
So fermenting.
Yeah.
Things tend to stay crispy with fermenting.
Yeah, things do stay crispier with fermenting. And, I think it really depends on all who you ask, like how long something's going to last that's just fermented. Because, a lot of people will say, I've heard 4 to 6 weeks, I've heard 6 months. And then my husband, when he was in the Army, he was stationed in Korea for over a year. And, people would just ferment huge batches of kimchi up on their roof. And he said you drive around and there's like huge buckets of kimchi on top of people's houses.
I wonder for how long.
He said they'll sit up there for years.
Oh, geez.
Yes. Like they really ferment the mess out of it.
I guess so.
So I'm like, I don't
I'm not
really know
doing
about
that. Yeah. But I mean, I guess if we had no electricity.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would do with most of my vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would ferment and I would do it in buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to get a good ferment, you need 2.5% salt solution.
Yes.
And you don't need vinegar.
No.
As that would be the difference from our modern day pickling to old historical fermenting. And don't use an iodized salt is the other
Right.
big thing, because that's going to kill the good bacteria that you want to help the fermentation process.
Right.
Yep. That's all you need, though.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you have salt, you're good to go.
What kind of salt do you use? Okay.
You don't want to know.
Oh, no.
I don't always follow the rules. Like I know
Right.
they say they say use non-iodized salt,
Right.
but a lot of the times that's what I have up in my cabinet, and so that's
Right.
what gets used.
Okay.
And it's the same exact thing for salting hides. People say don't use or use non-iodized salt, don't use non-iodized salt, and that's what I use on my hides, and
What's the logic there for
I mean,
why
they're-
not to for the hides?
they're fine. I don't know. I've heard that it makes them turn like a bluish color.
Oh, like a chemical reaction?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen an issue with it. So I'm not going to spend a ton of money on a bunch of salt to dump
That you're
on
dumping
a hide.
on. Yeah. I agree. I'm with you on that one.
So, it's all about the big cans of salt at Aldi.
Okay. I use Redmond's real salt. We use that for everything.
Yeah.
I buy it in the big, is it 30-pound bags or 40-pound bags or something like that? Mm-hmm. And we'll go through a little more than a bag in a year. And we use it for everything. Like
Nice.
I use it in all our canning, all of our kitchen, everything.
Right.
And yeah, we store it in big glass jars and buckets and stuff.
Yeah,
So-
I have a real bad habit of just using whatever I have available to me.
I'm not so sure that's a bad habit, though, Jenny. I mean, that's kind of the homesteader's way,
Yeah.
right? Like, use what you've got.
Yeah, I use what I've got. And I mean, and back to like tanning hides, I have a lot of hide tanning videos on my YouTube channel, and I've had a couple of people message me like absolutely cringing at the fact that I wash my hides in Dawn dish soap.
Right.
Well, you know what?
That's what I've got.
It's what I have, and out of all the hides that I've done, every single one of them has gotten washed in Dawn dish soap, and every single one of them is perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. And so that is a pH issue. It
Okay.
changes the pH to where you don't want it to live, I guess. But I've never had any problems with it. So
Huh. Well, cool.
There's
Good to-
that.
Good to know. Okay, so moving on
yes,
from pickling and fermentation, because we kind of group those together. Good old-fashioned canning.
Canning.
Yeah.
canning. I mean, that is an excellent way to store food without electricity. However, you may or may not need electricity to make it happen.
Right. You could can on propane.
You could can on propane. You could probably can open
Open
on a
fire,
fire
yeah.
if it really came down to it and you really needed to do it. You just need to know how to tend a fire to keep the heat steady.
Right, to keep your pressure steady if you're pressure canning.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even water bath canning to keep that rolling boil. That is why I chose the All American canner when I started canning,
Okay.
pressure canning, was because there's no gasket that can get ruined with an open fire.
Okay.
So that was my logic. And my dad was like, why in the world does she need that? Like, why does she want that? That's why I want that. They last forever. I'll be handing it down to my grandbabies one day.
Right.
You know, it's like cast iron. It'll last forever.
Right. I hadn't even thought about the whole rubber gasket thing.
Yeah, and you never have to replace that. It's
Right.
It's one less part to go bad.
Right.
So that was my logic. I can can over an open fire if I want. Not that I want
Right.
or do. But I have canned over propane plenty of times. And now we use a propane stove in the kitchen, and I
Right.
use that. It's just the same as using a turkey fryer outside.
Right.
So
Yeah. So yeah, canning.
water bath versus
Pressure
canning. You want to go into that?
Well, you're going to want to pressure can most of your vegetables, your meats.
Your low acid.
Yep, your low acid things. I mean, I personally think everybody should learn how to pressure can, especially for putting up meat. That is one of the best ways to put an excess amount of meat up on the shelf if
Yeah.
you don't want to put it in the freezer. We've been doing our deer like that we get, and You can't beat it.
I think I did 18 pints of ground deer meat.
Yeah.
And that was so easy. And now it's fast food. Like it's on the shelf. Like today, I didn't take something out before I left home.
Right.
My kids are already texting me wanting to know what's for dinner. I don't know, but it's going to be something with ground meat because that's what's on the shelf.
Right. Like you can make some quick tacos.
Exactly.
That's my favorite thing to make when I don't have anything taken out. Just pull some deer meat out and cook it with some black beans and some corn.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what I'll do.
It shreds right up.
Yeah.
So do you raw pack your ground beef or do you cook it and then can it?
My ground meat, I cooked it first. Like Par cooked it, mostly cooked.
Right.
Yeah, and it has added pork fat to it because deer meat is very, very lean.
Yeah.
And then I packed them full. So a pint holds about a pound, just under a pound of meat. And new lids and rings.
Yeah.
In the canner they went, 90 minutes. Or actually, pints were, 75 minutes for pints?
Yeah.
I think
so.
Yeah.
And then 90
for quarts.
Yeah.
And then we'll do chunks. I'll raw pack if we do like roast chunks or stew meat chunks.
Yeah.
We'll raw pack those and I'll put as much as I can in a quart.
Right.
No
With
liquid.
no liquid.
Right.
So when you're cooking your ground beef, do you put liquid in that?
No.
No. Okay. I've seen people do the cooked ground beef both ways.
Right. No, I didn't.
Okay.
I just meat. And
I've
salt.
never.
I go ahead and salt it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm putting salt on everything.
Yeah. I didn't used to, but I like how the food takes the salt in the canning process.
Yeah.
So I do salt it now. All right. What else? Jams and jellies?
Yeah, jams and jellies, which goes with your canning. But I mean, if you have a bunch of fruit that you need to put up, jams and jellies.
Jams and jellies. Yeah. So your sugar is your preservative there.
Uh-huh.
I will say there's a lot of like rebel canner people out there who are terrified of a pressure canner, which I think is silly. Like, take a class.
Right.
Learn how to do it.
Right. Just learn the basic rules.
Right.
You're not going to blow up.
Right. And they will still stick to the old, like 100-year-old methods of water bath canning everything, which is like 4 hours for meat or something ridiculous like
That's
that.
ridiculous.
Like, I'm not running my propane for 4 hours.
No.
You know? So just figure out how to do it, learn how to do it, and do it right. There's no reason to run that for 4 hours. That's crazy.
And there's no reason to be scared of a pressure canner.
Right.
I'm so proud of my neighbor and his wife. They have been dying to learn how to can. And so he asked me for a list. And so he went out and bought all the pressure canning things. And he wants to get a bunch of stuff and have me come over and teach him and his wife how to pressure can.
Yes.
I'm like, I am there.
Yes.
We will do that.
I love it. The more, the better. I love it.
Yeah. Definitely a skill you should learn.
Yeah. So those are like our most obvious things, right?
Right.
So let's move on to our less obvious.
Yeah. Well, one of the less obvious ones for root vegetables is just to leave them in the ground.
Right. Yeah, I wonder how long that works like for carrots, say. Like, we grow carrots over winter. Are we really going to leave them in the ground over summer?
No, I'm not going to leave them in the ground all summer, but I just kind of pull them as I need them these days.
Sure.
So, I mean, mine definitely get left, but I'm not growing so much where I'm going to be still pulling them at the,
End of summer. Right.
I really only did 2 rows of carrots this year, so.
And I think too that we're a little different here with our location being so close to the equator, that it's the growing season is far different from anybody north of us.
Yeah. But then like our friend Emily that grows sweet potatoes, like
it's perpetual sweet potatoes.
Right. It's just whenever she needs to dig a sweet potato, she goes out and she digs a sweet potato.
Right.
And they're essentially just preserved in the ground.
Yep.
And sure, you may have some that go bad, but there's some that are in a continual state of growing,
Right. Right. Yeah.
New slips are sprouting and growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yep.
So yeah, storing your root vegetables in the ground.
Just leave them in there. Can I skip down?
Yeah.
Because on that note, we have wet sand.
Yeah.
So, and that is also like in the ground or something called that we called tater holes.
Tater holes, yes. tater holes. Dig a tater hole.
Yeah.
So if you have some vegetables, and this just doesn't necessarily just mean root vegetables, but really, I guess any kind of vegetable, it's called digging a tater hole. And so you're basically just digging a hole in the ground. You're putting those vegetables in the ground and then just covering them up with wet sand.
Yes.
The wet sand kind of gives you a little bit of an insulator, and you just keep them covered until you're ready to use them. Now, would I do that with like a tomato?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Especially in August in Florida. Probably not. But yeah, I think that's cool. I think you can do that with some of your harder vegetables, like a carrot.
Yeah, another really cool method that I learned about, and I can't remember what they call it. It's basically like a charcoal cooler, but there is like an official name for it.
Yeah.
So, do you have it written down?
I do. I was looking for the name of it though. It's a charcoal cooler.
Right, but there's a different name for it too.
There's another name for it.
There's another name for it. I don't remember.
But
what
it's the
it
same
is.
thing.
It's the same thing. So a charcoal cooler is basically where you're taking a clay pot, and you're taking your clay pot and you're putting it into a larger vessel. So you have a smaller clay pot in a bigger pot, or any type of vessel that's bigger, really. And then you're filling up the space in between your clay pot and the larger vessel with like a mix of sand and charcoal, and you're wetting that down. You're putting all your vegetables inside the clay pot just by themselves, and then covering that up with a wet towel.
It's like an insulator.
It's like an insulator.
It's like a
yes.
cooler.
Yeah, it's
I
like
mean,
a cooler.
basically.
And then some people even take it a step further and bury that larger vessel with the smaller vessel in the dirt,
Right.
and cover that up.
Right. I think I remember learning when my boys were younger and we were homeschooling on a field trip to St. Augustine that the Timucuan Indians did that.
Okay.
I don't remember what they called it, but it was essentially that same practice.
You know what I think it's called?
What?
An insulator.
No, it's something else. Something I can't think of. I can't remember though.
I don't remember either.
We'll have to look for it and put it in the show notes.
Yeah, so on that same note, like I've even seen where somebody will take like a broken freezer
Yeah.
and bury the freezer in the ground.
Right.
And so you're essentially creating like a little mini root cellar.
A root cellar, yeah. So
Yeah.
root cellar is another
cellar.
option. But we don't really have that here in Florida.
No.
We don't, like, generally, you're not finding root cellars in basements here, but anywhere else you can probably do that. And some things that stay good in root cellars are going to be like your winter squashes and onions and potatoes and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? Garlic.
Garlic.
So those same things can work in the buried freezer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you might be able to get away with in Florida. I mean, the whole root cellar thing doesn't work here, probably because the amount
The
of
water table,
the water
yeah.
table, yeah. It's just too wet for that. So, but
I think depending on your
Freezer's not a bad
location,
idea.
like you're a little lower and wetter than where I am.
Right.
You know, like I know I could bury a freezer and not hit water.
right.
We buried a cow last year. Like I know we can go deep.
Right.
So, okay. Alcohol.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, alcohol. I mean, if you're thinking about an alcohol that's, 80 to 100 proof, there's not really any bacteria that's going to live in that.
Right. So what would you use alcohol to preserve?
Well, really foraging anything that's medicinal or any medicinal herbs.
Like herby things.
Yeah, I made a tincture that really works well last year, and I'm down to like half a quart of it too. So we really have went through it, and it's like
Stuff's going to start growing soon though.
yeah, it's my go-to, and I still have dried elderberries that I made that with. So it's like my go-to now when I'm not feeling good. So we made ours with moonshine. And the thing is, when you're talking about the strength of your alcohol, it depends on if you're using dried herbs or fresh herbs.
Okay.
So if you're going with a dried herb, that doesn't have the water content in it to dilute the alcohol. So if you're using a fresh herb, you know that the alcohol is going to get diluted. So with the fresh herbs, you want to go with 100 proof.
Okay.
Which is why we used moonshine, because all the herbs and stuff that I foraged was all fresh, really green, full of water. So it's going to dilute the moonshine.
Okay.
And then I used dried elderberries in it. But I wanted to make sure that we were covered on the fresh stuff.
All the bases.
Yeah, so if it's green, go with the stronger alcohol. If it's dried, you can go with, like
An 80
an
proof.
80 proof
Okay.
or just like a standard vodka.
Right. Something in between.
Yeah.
So yeah, tinctures, extracts. So
Extracts,
yeah,
yeah.
like a mint extract or vanilla.
Vanilla, yep.
Is popular. Mhm.
Yep. Same concept. No
Eggnog.
bacteria is living in it.
Yeah, eggnog. That is how eggs were preserved years ago.
I didn't know that.
That is where eggnog came from.
Okay.
The need to preserve eggs.
Interesting.
Amazing, isn't it?
And now people drink it.
People are, they drink it. But I mean, and now people, I don't know, like I think the human mind is just brilliant. And the things that people were able to figure out, create, invent in times that were so much more difficult to do than now. It just,
Yeah.
and now like, it's just like us relearning all these homestead skills. This whole generation is
Yeah.
learning the lost ways, quote unquote, from 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and now we're learning things like you can do what?
Right.
Like plants can be medicine?
Right.
How? Teach me. So I don't know. I think it's amazing that we've been able to figure that out and we're relearning it.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Sorry to be off on a tangent.
It's okay. Dehydrating.
Dehydrating.
Yes. And I guess probably freeze drying goes in the same category, but I guess technically you would need power to freeze dry.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily need power to dehydrate
Correct.
because you can dehydrate in the sun.
You can do that in your car window on the dash.
Right.
Yeah, in Florida for sure. Yeah, actually, so I have a friend who has plans. I'm not sure if she's built it yet or not, but she has at least plans for a large solar
Yeah, they
dehydrator.
make solar dehydrators.
Yes. So it's like windows or plexiglass and screens and really, you don't even need all of that. Like they also sell just a very simple collapsible hanging basket that has levels of mesh, and
Yes.
you just put your herbs in there or your veggies in there, whatever, and it dehydrates, just the air.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
So-
just letting it dehydrate, which again is just taking that moisture out. The moisture is what's going to mold it and make it go rancid.
full
and-
bacteria. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're storing stuff that's dehydrated, just make sure it's like 100% dehydrated
Correct.
or it's not going to keep.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Salt curing on that note, pulling the water out through salt curing.
Yes, a 5% salt solution is going to reduce bacterial growth. A 10% solution is going to have absolutely no bacteria growing in it.
That's so like what would you salt cure? Is this like just meats or
Well, I
could
mean,
you salt cure vegetables too? Would you do that?
you can do egg yolks. Have
Right.
you seen those little salt cured egg yolks?
I have.
I
Have
think
you
they're
seen-
so cute.
Have you seen sugar cured egg yolks?
Sugar cured egg yolks.
Which shows where my brain is. Like I should be looking into the salt, not the sugar. But yes, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I suppose that you could probably salt cure vegetables. I mean, that would pull the moisture out.
It's like more than brining
Right,
for fermentation.
right.
So sounds like an experiment maybe. Don't you
Yes.
have a homeschool boy who needs a science experiment?
Sure.
Perhaps.
We're studying bugs right now.
Okay,
so
I don't want to salt cure them.
no salt cured bugs.
That's why we do what we do, so we don't have to go there.
I actually have a little salt cure project that is almost finished.
Is it?
Yeah, the last deer that we got just for an experiment, I wanted to salt cure one of the quarters. And so it's a front shoulder. And I did a salt cure on that, and it sat in the pantry in a little bin for probably about 2 months or so. And the correct way, again, I don't always follow the rules here. I'm going to tell you the correct way, and then I'm going to tell you how I did it.
Okay.
The correct way is to weigh the meat when it's raw
Right.
and document the weight. Go ahead and put your salt on it. And once your weight reaches 30% less of the original raw weight, that's when you can take the salt off.
30%.
30% weight loss, after it's been salt cured is when it's done.
Is there like an estimated time frame that should take, or does it just
depends on how big the cut of meat is.
Okay, and probably atmospheric conditions and
right, humidity, and blah blah blah.
Okay,
so that's not the way that I did it.
Of course not. Tell us how you did it, Jenny.
I put it in my pantry, covered in salt, and forgot about it.
Awesome.
And it stayed in there for at least 2 months. And then I remembered about it and I was scared to check it. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be bad.
Somebody just throw it away.
Right. And so I checked on it and I was like, oh wow, it did not smell, or it was not gross or anything. It was just like a piece of meat rubbed in salt, And so once I remembered to start checking on it, I would check on it and see that the salt was damp. And so I would put more salt on it and maybe flip it. And I just kept on salting it and flipping it until there was no more moisture coming out of it. The salt wasn't wet anymore. The salt had been completely dry for a little while. And so at that point, I'm like, you know what?
Did you weigh it again?
No, because I didn't weigh it to start with.
Oh, of course not. Okay.
And so I rinsed the salt cure off, and now it has been hanging in one of my cabinets.
Okay.
And it's been hanging for probably about 2 months. And I think it might be ready to attempt to eat.
So it's like a prosciutto.
It's like it's a venison prosciutto.
Okay.
So if it turns out good, I've got that lamb that we just butchered.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
That's hanging in my walk-in cooler. If the venison one doesn't kill us and it turns out good, I'm going to do it the right way with the lamb.
Okay. I hope that we hear from you next week. Okay, well that's cool. I love it. I love it. I love that you're doing it.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
That's how it is with me. I just gotta do something and try it and see how it works and try to do it the right way if I can.
I like how I like your bar though. Like if it doesn't kill us, then we'll do it again. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, one last question on the salt curing. So when you put it in the bin and you salted it, you mean like you just caked the meat or you covered it over with salt?
Oh no, you just rub the meat.
Okay.
And so you want to make sure that like whatever cut of meat that you're doing, you want it to be like a really smooth cut. You don't want like any folds or anything like that, because you want to make sure that the salt is like totally covering the piece of meat. So, before we salted it, I really went through and made sure there was no jagged pieces on it anywhere and like really, really, really salt it.
What about fat? Does fat content make any kind of difference? I know like deer meat doesn't have a lot of fat, but like let's say I wanted to do this with a pork shoulder, Yeah,
no, I think that you want to trim the fat to a minimum, but I don't think people are totally taking all the fat off. Cause
right. I wouldn't want to.
Right. Like the original prosciutto was kind of like a pork thing anyway, from what I understand.
Right.
So no, I don't think that, they're not keeping like a huge fat layer.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Right. Okay. All right. So
then the other correct thing that you're supposed to do that I did not do. Okay. Is the bin that you put your cut of meat in to cure. You want to drill holes in the bottom of that and set that into a larger bin. That way your liquid just drains off into the bin underneath it. I did not do that. I set my piece of meat up on like 2 risers.
Okay.
So it wasn't sitting in the water. You don't you want it at least propped up some so it's not sitting, because the idea is to let it dry. You don't want it sitting in the moisture.
Right. So like a cooling rack or something.
Yeah, I propped it up on a couple of pieces of wood, and then anytime there was liquid in there, I would just dump the liquid out.
Okay. Well, that works.
Yeah.
You figured it out.
It worked.
You figured out a way to make it work. That's cool. So far. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see if you're here next week. Okay, so not just salt curing meat, but smoking meat. You could cold smoke meat and make it last forever, I feel like.
That's one thing that we have really wanted to build for a while now, is like a good cold smoker.
Yeah. We have one, but we don't use it just for cold smoke. Like we do cold smoke like our cheeses, and we cold smoke our meat for a while just to get the smoke on the meat.
Yeah.
And then it's like a combination. We also, it has a propane burner also. So we'll turn the heat to it when we need to. So I don't know how long it takes to just cold smoke meat. We're not that patient. So we haven't done it.
Yeah.
But that's out of my wheelhouse. That's Eric's domain.
Right.
Like outside cooking is his job.
Right.
And
Same here.
Yeah, I'm too busy to even want to. With the other, like inside cooking and canning and stuff like that. So
Right. So yeah, cold smoking, another excellent, very old-timey way to store meat. Olive oil.
yeah, we missed that.
Yeah, like really preserving things in olive oil. But again, like it's the same thing with like the tinctures and stuff like that. Like, you know, herbs, you want to dry those before you put them in the olive oil because oil and water don't mix.
Right.
And so the moisture content within those things can go rancid in the oil. So dry them.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen cheese preserved in olive oil. Now we make some that's not for preservation, but
Right.
but you supposedly can preserve your cheese with oil, which I think is cool. Eggs, you can oil eggs,
Yes.
like whole raw eggs. Oil as
Yep.
long as they're clean and
Yep.
not washed. That bloom is still on there, and then the oil, olive oil works. Mineral oil works too, but
Yeah.
I've used olive oil.
Yeah, and then I've heard like you can just dip them and then just leave them like that, or you can dip them and then store them in a bucket of salt.
Oh,
And that's supposed to keep them good for like a year. If you oil them
Okay.
and salt them, and you just layer them in like a 5-gallon bucket.
right. Interesting. I never thought of that. I've limed eggs lots of times.
Yeah.
We could do that now. Liming eggs.
Right, liming
Yeah,
eggs.
you want to use a what is it? Hydrated lime.
Yep.
I cannot remember off the top of my head the ratio of lime to water,
I don't remember either.
but yeah, we are still using eggs that we did in September.
I still have 2 half-gallon jars of limed eggs from last molting season.
It's January and like the chickens are turned on now, so I don't think that I'm going to use them. I think I'm just going to feed them back to the chickens. But
Yeah, I'm starting to get eggs again too.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
yeah, thank goodness. I saw a picture on a Facebook page yesterday, and it was not a page about food per se. It was a page about chickens, and somebody posted a picture. I could never figure out where they were, but it's a picture of quote unquote pastured eggs,
Okay.
and they were $12. They were 11 something for the
What?
dozen. 11, like more than 11.50. That's $1 an egg. Yes.
I saw somebody online asking the other day for pastured eggs that were vegetarian fed. I just can't even.
I'm sorry.
I just can't even.
No.
I'm like, nope, I'm
No.
not even going to comment. I'm just going to keep scrolling.
Yeah, in fact, I needed to go to the feed mill today, but it's podcast day, so that wasn't going to happen. So the last of my chicken feed went to my tractored chickens because they are in a tractor. They're smaller, they're meat birds, and they're kind of dumb, to be honest. And,
Right.
yeah, we have this red-tailed hawk that is just sitting on the fence looking at them. So
Waiting.
I can't let them out of the tractor at all. My big chickens I can, and just, cross my fingers.
Right.
But yeah, so I didn't feed my big chick, my layers, any feed. I just opened the coop door and said, "Okay, go find some food."
Right.
And they will, like,
Right. And that's fine.
and it's not going to be vegetarian.
It's not vegetarian.
That's not what they want.
Nope.
They want the bugs
They want the bugs,
and the maggots.
which is not vegetarian.
No. Okay, let's get off that
Moving on.
soapbox. So like what about a cold stream or like a well house, that kind of thing? That's another old timey way to keep
Right.
stuff cold.
Yeah, that's a very old timey way to have like refrigeration. People would build spring houses.
Yeah.
Which you actually could probably do in Florida with as many springs as we have. They would build like a legit like little house right over a spring, and the coolness of the spring water will help keep things a little on the cooler side. I mean, it's not,
Our spring water is 72 year round. I think like
Right.
mountain spring water, you're looking at 50-degree water,
Right.
where you can keep things a little cooler.
right. Or, like if putting them in, a basket or a net, your vegetables, and putting that whole entire thing in the water.
Right.
I mean, it would be good for like temporary cold storage. I don't know that I would leave things in there for too long, but I mean, if you were in a pinch and that's what you needed to do, that would work. Mm-hmm. Or if you're camping.
Sure.
Might be fun for camping.
Might be fun. Yeah, camping. Yeah, that could be fun.
I love camping.
I know you do. I like my bed.
All right, so what else do we have? Oh, another thing that I saw that they used to do way back when was if they had cooked meat that was left over and they wanted to preserve that for short term, they would put those in containers and melt lard and pour lard over the piece of meat to kind of seal it up, trap the air out of it.
I mean, it's the first potted meat.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Right. And so that lard, it gets all the oxygen away from it, which helps preserve it and seal it up.
I understand that is a long-term preservation.
Okay.
It can last a long time on the shelf. And now I think, again, like they weren't looking to preserve food for 20 years. Like,
right. Right.
That they were going to use it.
They were going to use it up.
Yeah. So, but you're supposed to be able to do it for months at least. So I think that's cool. And you'll notice if you do can a fatty meat, like if we had a big celebration and we had a lot of pulled pork, right?
Yeah.
Bunch of pork butts smoked, and that had a lot of fat on it. And so we can the leftovers, and that fat rises to the top, and you'll see where it seals off.
I always feel really good about that when I see that happen with something that I can. I'm like, oh, good. It's like totally sealed up.
Yeah.
You know, if it's got that layer of fat on there, you're good.
Exactly. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that we're at the end of the line.
I think we are at the end of the list.
Yeah. So just a couple of quick tips. Safe temperature for your meat storage if it's not going to be canned.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 40 degrees max. So 40 degrees, or I guess if it's not going to be canned or smoked, fresh meats, I should say.
Right.
Fish, eggs, maybe. I don't know.
Well, depending on the eggs.
Room temperature.
Depending on the eggs, yeah. I mean, they can be room temperature unless they've already been washed.
Okay. So meats and fish.
Yeah.
40 degrees. Dry storage are going to be your root vegetables, your winter squashes, onions, and things like that. Room temperature, are those like dry storage is fine at room temperature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you seen the thing about washing your bacon grease?
Washing it?
Yeah, washing your grease to preserve it.
I have, because Eric's on TikTok. He loves the TikTok. And he'll send me stuff every now and then. I'm like, I'm not on. So like, it's a pain in the butt to open if you don't have the app,
Yeah.
So yeah, I have seen it. Tell about it.
Yeah. So any type of grease that you're wanting to essentially save, bacon grease is kind of the popular one to save.
Right.
If you wash it, it will keep for longer because you're essentially cleaning it and getting all the stuff out of there that would spoil. So put your bacon grease. Put your bacon grease into a jar.
Right.
And say if your jar is like halfway full with bacon grease, go ahead and fill it up the rest of the way with water. As we all know, oil and water is not going to mix. So you're giving your bacon grease a really good shake with the water, and then you're turning your jar upside down. So all of the bits and pieces of whatever you fried and all of the water is going to go to the bottom,
right,
which is the top
because
of the
it's
upside down
right.
jar. And then all your bacon grease will float to the top, which will be the bottom of the jar. And then you just leave it like that until it completely cools.
Right.
And then when you flip it over, you can dump out the water and all the bits, and all your clean grease will be in the bottom.
I do the same thing when I make ghee.
Okay.
So like we make our butter.
Okay. That's how you like clarify it.
That's how you clarify butter. Yeah. So you cook it down, and the first jar that I store will be just ghee. It'll be very clean. But then as I get to the bottom of the pot, there's more impurities, and I can't necessarily filter them all out.
Okay.
There's always a little bit of milk solids left, and I'll just flip the jar over.
Right.
And when it cools, open it up and pour it off. Yeah.
Interesting.
Same
Did
thing.
not know that. There you go. Learn something new every day.
All right, guys, we'll preserve some food.
Yes, preserve some food. And
we have a whole blog post on this
yes.
topic, and so I'll link it in the show notes if you are the kind of learner who wants it in writing.
Yep.
Go find it and enjoy.
Yep. All right, y'all.
Thank
we'll talk to you next week.
Hopefully Jenny's alive and joins us. I'm not running this show by myself, girl. All right, bye-bye.